Welcome to J&B Live. I'm Broker J3,
This is Dr. B.
and we appreciate you guys joining us. We know we've been going for a short period of time for the holiday season, but it's 2025, and we are back. And we appreciate you guys joining us. Thank you so much for joining us in the new year. We really appreciate you guys.
Well, we thank you. So we're going to go ahead and dive right in for today. Today's topic is from setback to comeback. And we want to take a look at how some of you have experienced adversity and you move from that adversity to resilience and triumphs over barriers.
Yeah. And just like Dr. B said, in our lifetime, we're going to always go through minor setbacks in our life. We always hear there are a lot of ups and downs in life, and that is true. No matter what you're doing, even at something as simple as your job or your church life or just everyday life, you're always going to have some setbacks, some ups and downs. And today, what we're going to talk about is that comeback. Because you might take a small fall, but what really matters is how you come back. So that's what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, we want to know how you actually persevered and your success story. And first, what better way to start this topic out by discussing some of the things that we've experienced as far as some not the diversity, but how we persevered, how we went through some barriers, how we have went back several setbacks in our lives to get to where we are today.
Exactly. And thing about this is not just for older audience, this is also for some of our younger folks because you have a lot of kids out there. Just like I still have a child that's still in college and she was going through a housing issue where the school put her on a waiting list for her to get back to school. And she was more concerned about whether she was going to be able to start school on time because she was more worried about where she was going to stay at. So in her mind, she felt like that was a setback for her because she was concerned about where she was going to live. But her comeback was to secure, she was able to secure housing. She was able to get an apartment, secure her housing. So once that happened, she felt better and the happiness came back and she was super excited because she didn't have that worry of where she was going to stay at. So, when you think of a setback, it's not just us older folks as we deal with bills and so forth like that. It's also for the younger folks,
Yes.
That's out there as well.
Yes. So if a lot of you are probably in the market for a job, some of you probably can't find a job. And I just want to say that, there are several different avenues that you can reach out to. There are temp agencies. There are different places where you can go to apply for jobs. And you can just reach out to some of your buddies and say, hey, do you know anybody that's hiring? I don't want anyone to feel like they are not worthy of having a job. You want to have a job so that you can become self-sufficient. But just because you don't have that job that you want to have, I want you to persevere and keep working and keep striving, even if it means going back to school to try to get on that path to success if that's what you desire to do. No job is no better than the other. All of them are going to pay you cash, all of the money green. But if you want a better job or if you want to have a job, then you want to start that pathway so that you can get that job that you want. And don't give up if the first person doesn't call and say, I want to hire you.
Yeah. And think about this again when we're talking about the personal struggles, especially going through your triumph, passing it all. This is a lot of times where we have to think about overcoming significant challenges, such as systemic racism,
Yes.
poverty, incarceration, or even health issues. So, we want you guys to be able to chime in as well. Remember, we're always interactive. We want to hear from you guys because, you may have a story that you may have overcome something yourself where you had a setback and you had a comeback. We always like to hear that as well.
And I can personally say that when I was growing up, both of my parents were deceased by the time that I was 12. So my grandmother, she took on that responsibility of actually rearing me. So she took on that responsibility. But statistically, I think sometimes that I probably shouldn't be where I am, but I know that that was something that I wanted. I wanted to achieve it, but statistically, children that come from parent with no, growing up on their own, they usually don't survive. They usually end up incarcerated. So you've got to have that resilience and you've got to have that determination and perseverance. If you want something, you want it. If you want it bad enough, then you can go get it. You can turn that setback, whatever you're going through in life, into a comeback.
And also think about this. Now, sometimes when, I guess it seems like we're both playing devil
I
advocate. I'm
know.
I'm talking about the setbacks and you're talking about the comebacks.
Comebacks, yes.
But but you have to think about this. Some of these setbacks that you may be experiencing and don't know could be coming from breaking the generational cycles,
Mhm.
you know, or coming out of that systemic poverty, where grandmother was in the projects, mom was in the projects, now we're in the projects.
Yeah.
Addiction, whether it's to drugs or sex or alcohol or some particular trauma that you may have been through.
Yeah, yeah. And the key to this is for me, because I can personally say that I went from a setback to a comeback, not just, growing up poor and everything, but, I've been through 2 divorces. So when you go through things where you're losing someone, it's not death, but you're still losing someone that was very close to you. So you have to be able to, or you be willing to push through whatever you're going through, whatever those setbacks may be. It doesn't matter if it's divorce, your financial, it doesn't matter if you're depressed or whatever. You've got to push through that so
And
that you can become part of the statistics and say that you're a comeback. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
Exactly. And that's what the real thing of overcoming some of these barriers that you have, it's about navigating, through that process despite
thank
anything that's going on is how you get past it because, some of them issues can come from mental and
yeah,
emotional, you got depression,
yeah,
anxiety, grief, all these things are classified as setbacks, and it's a matter of how you handle it, how you pivot past it,
mm,
how you rebuild from a personal law or overcoming
mm,
these type of things, especially incarceration.
yes,
We hear about that a lot of times. A lot of young men, get incarcerated, and then when they get out, they're trying to have their comeback, but they're faced with issues such as jobs that won't hire them, or they may find a place to stay, but then when they apply for that apartment, oh well, you have a record, so you can't stay here. So the system, as we know, is already kind of messed up.
it's rigged.
It's especially they tell you go to jail, you do the time for your crime,
Mm,
but after you get out, you're still doing time.
mm,
It's that systematic time because it's not giving you a chance. You already paid for the crime, so why when you get out, you can't get a place to stay, you can't get a
get a
job,
job.
and these are all setbacks that make it hard for your comeback.
Exactly, and how it's set up, recidivism is set up so that you will return to jail because you get out, you can't find a job, you may not have anyone where to stay. So therefore, you tend to commit those same crimes that land you right back in jail. And then if you have children, so what's going to happen if you're as the father, you're away from your children. So guess what? Your children are now growing up without a father. So you've got to be able to, as Broker J3 just said, you got to be willing to find a way to pivot and turn your circumstances, turn those setbacks into a comeback. God has not is not putting you through this for you to fail. He's putting you through this so that you can become a stronger individual. You learn from your mistakes so that you can be stronger and grow closer to Him.
Yeah, and even with that, adding on to that, a lot of times when we're going through something, that's when you really have to have your faith strong and build off that spirituality that you may
Yeah.
have, because everybody's, different. You have different religions and a lot of people are spiritual, they might not be the certain way, but you use that spirituality that you do have, that faith, that belief in God that you have,
Mhm.
and also use that community support
Yes.
so that you can bounce back from those adversities because a lot of times, we always call on God when things are not going good, but it's also good to call on God when things are going well also. We want to make sure that we always have that connection with him because times like these, they're very hard, guys. I mean, right now a lot of people are going through things, dealing with homelessness, can't find a job,
Depression,
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 anxiety.
anxiety.
I have a very close family friend of ours that just lost his mother. And right now he's going through it. And if you've never lost a parent before, be very careful how you approach people that have just lost a parent because you can't come to them and say, "Hey, I know how you feel." If your parents are not dead and you haven't experienced that, or if you have not had the relationship with your parents, as some people like, I'm very close to my mother. Me and her are very close. So I know if something happens to her, emotionally, I'll be distressed.
Yeah.
So when you have people that are close to those parents and lose those parents, just please keep that in mind because sometimes we make that mistake.
Yeah.
When we're telling people, "Oh, we know how you feel," and if you've never been through that, you lose a child. "Oh, girl, I know how you feel." If you haven't lost a child, be careful. Just grieve with them, but be careful about the words that you say.
And then Broker J3 just mentioned his mom. And I just think about that all the time. What if my mom was alive? I would just give pretty much anything to have those moments with her and my grandmother, because my grandmother and I were very close as well. You can't get that time back. So you want to love on them while they're here. Now, what do we recommend for people that are going through? What do we recommend? Number one, prayer, the power of prayer. I know, for speaking personally, I would not have made it through any of my setbacks without the help of God. God guided me. He guided my footsteps. He guided my tongue. He was there, and he's never going to leave you. So I'm not trying to give you a sermon today, but I do recommend that you pray for God to guide you through this process.
And broker,
Yeah.
broker,
Yeah.
doc, let me tell you like this. You're right. It's not about what we say because we're talking about our own personal experiences.
Yes.
Me and you both have our own personal relationship with God, and like she said, it's not necessarily preaching to you guys. It's just sharing our personal experiences with you guys because you know that's who helped bring us through our setbacks
Mm,
that we have had in our past and even currently. Actually,
yes.
we depend on God to hold us strong until we get through these things. So
Yes.
that's very important that you find whatever it is, whether it's, a family member, a friend, or
Yes.
a community leader, or whether, someone in your church or just someone that you
Mhm.
can talk to, you find that person so that when you're going through these setbacks, you have some kind of support to be able to get through it. Now we have a few questions for you guys that we're gonna ask, but
Mhm.
me and Doc B, we're gonna kind of answer those questions, from our own personal experiences. But if when we ask these questions and if you guys, have your own personal that you like to share,
Mm,
put it in the text,
yes.
or
Please
or
share,
tap
share.
the screen. Let us know that you hear us. Let us know that you like what we're saying so that we know that you're here.
Yeah.
The first question that we like to ask is what was the most significant barrier you faced and how did it shape your life?
Mm.
Doc B?
The most significant barrier that I face, I think the most significant one that I faced coming up was losing my parents when I was probably about 8 years old, and that took a toll on me because as a child, you don't understand that. You're questioning yourself and you're asking yourself, "What did I do wrong?" But luckily, I had my aunts and I had my grandmother to fill in that gap, and they showed me that they loved me regardless, even though my parents weren't there. As a matter of fact, my mother's sister and brother, they both treated me like I was their own child, and we grew up We grew up thinking we were brothers and sisters, but now we always refer to each other as sister cousin or sister brother, sister sister. That's how we actually refer to each other. I've coined that particular term. So that was one of the most significant barriers that I faced in my life.
All right, guys, and for a lot of you out there that have went through something very significant, think back on what it was in your life or who was in your life at that time that helped you get past that particular barrier that you went through.
Mhm.
Next question, Doc B.
What resources or mindset shift help you navigate your toughest moments?
I'm gonna go ahead and revert back to what we was talking about earlier. My belief and faith in God. I've went through some tough times in my life. Now, I have been blessed in my life, and I'm very thankful for everything that God has done for me. But during some of the tough times in my life, and like I said before, these are the times where you have to really, where you will be tested. Your faith will be tested. Your strength in your faith, how much you believe in God, because during those times, that's when you really have to call on Him and
Yes, you
pray
do. Yeah.
and say, Lord, help me through this. I can't do it by myself. I'm asking for your help. Please lead me in the right direction because right now I don't know what to do. And there's been many times, Doc B, where
Mhm.
is a lot of people always say, you seem to always know what to say or what to do. And what they don't understand is even in my own life, sometimes I don't know what to do. Sometimes I don't know how to fix certain issues. So I have to call upon God.
Yeah, and as mothers, we always like to fix everything. We think we're supposed to fix everything because we feel like that's our job, particularly when it comes to our children and our grandchildren. But sometimes we don't have all of the answers, and we have to go to God and ask Him what we should do in certain situations and let Him guide us.
I agree. I
Mhm.
agree. So let me ask you this. So, how do you continue to find strength in the face of ongoing challenges? That's the question that we have for you guys. I'm asking Dot B, but the question I'm asking you guys as well. And I say you can chime in. You can put your answers, in the comment section. Let us know if you have want to answer any of these questions that we're asking each other. These questions are for you guys. How do you continue to find strength in the face of ongoing challenges?
Yes. I'm glad you asked me that question because I'm constantly trying to become a better person, a better mother, a better grandmother, just a better version of me. And I find strength by reading the Bible, prayer. I rely on my family and rely on my friends. They give me the support that I need. I do want to share with you guys something that my oldest son told me, and he's 35. He shared with me that, he went through some tough times. We just had this conversation yesterday. And he said he believed he read the whole Bible. This is my 35-year-old during that particular time when he was going through his setback. So to me, he found strength in reading the Bible. And just think about it. When you spend some time with God, He knows you're reading the Bible. He knows you're spending that time with Him, and He will help you through those setbacks, those difficult times that you are encountering.
I,
Mhm.
I,
Yeah. Yeah.
I totally agree with you.
Okay.
He'll definitely do it.
And the last question that I have for you, the second question, what advice would you give others who feel stuck or defeated by adversity?
This might seem like one of those spiritual podcasts
That's
today, but
okay. That's okay.
but
God is
um,
good.
the advice that I would give anybody is to pray. You know, pray to whatever God that you pray to. Pray to Him and ask Him for strength to get past whatever adversity that you're dealing with, because many people may not believe this, but I know this for personal reasons. Prayer works,
Mhm.
regardless. And, if you truly believe that God is in control and God can take over, trust me, prayer works. It's funny,
Yes. Mm.
when I talk about that, because my own personal struggles. Sometimes when we're getting here on set and we're talking about how our days went and whatnot like that, and I told you about something that I was dealing with, and I just been praying to God, Lord, work this out, make this happen. Been going through quite a few things, the last couple of months. And, in the last few days, it seemed like, God is answering those prayers.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
he answered this prayer. Today he answered another prayer, and he's still coming. He's still coming with it. So my advice that I would tell anybody that's going through it is pray. And if you're one of those people out there, or maybe you're atheist or don't believe in God, and it's just not your thing, it's okay. We're not here to judge anybody.
No.
If that is the case for you, what I would suggest you do is find comfort in a good friend, a good family member,
Mhm.
a community leader, or somebody that you trust, that you can talk to about what's going on, so that maybe they can give you some advice to be able to lead you in the right direction. Because, let's be realistic. We're living in a world, everyone don't believe in God, everybody don't believe in Christ, and there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody that's one thing that God does. God gives you the power
Mhm.
of choice. So, it's your choice. So, but again, I would definitely find somebody to talk to, that can be able to at least listen to you and give you some good positive advice to be able to get through that adversity.
Yes. So we want everyone to take a few moments and share with us how you have turned that setback into a comeback and how God has blessed you or how you've been blessed. Share that information so that it could be maybe a value to someone else that's maybe has joined our J&B Live and they can share that information.
I got one more question, B.
Mhm,
And
okay.
just, how do you celebrate and sustain your wins, while lifting others around you?
Well, now I believe in a win, and I believe in sharing it with others. Just like if God blessed me with a win, then I turn around and bless somebody else. So it's like you're paying it forward because to me, it's better to give than it is to receive. I've been blessed so much. I sometimes it just blows my mind how God has blessed me, and I thank Him for it because sometimes I feel like, Lord, how did I get here? You blessed me to get from a little bitty girl that with no parents, and you blessed me to be here. He blesses you for a reason, and everyone has a purpose in their lives. And for me, that purpose is to share that with you guys, how God has actually blessed me.
All right. Well, guys, right now we're in our interactive segment of our show where we're going to talk about a few things and hope that you guys interact with us. I'll let you go first, Doc B, and I'll chime in after that, and we'll get this session going so we can try to interact with you guys, because we say this all the time, and we truly mean it. This show is not just about us. This show is about our followers and our subscribers.
Mm.
We want you guys to chime in. We want you guys to tap the screen. We want you guys to show love and let us know
Yes,
that you hear us.
yes, we
You
thank
know,
you.
give us your comments. We realize a lot of you guys, you watch our videos, and you like our videos, and when we appreciate it, Doxy, be say with the heart, we
Yes,
love that. We thank you
thank
for that.
you.
But what we want is you guys to comment and let us know what you think. Tell us how you feel about our podcast. Tell us what you like about it. Maybe if you see some changes that you like to see us make, we don't mind listening to your comments in regards to what you have, because this show is for you guys. It's not for me and Doc B. This show is for you guys. So we really want you guys to start interacting more with us.
Yes, and we do believe in corrective criticism. If you we're doing something that you think is not adequate, if we're doing something that if we could do something more to the or add to the conversation, please join in and let us know. It will not hurt our feelings at all. As a matter of fact, we would appreciate it because like I said earlier, I'm trying to become a better version of me. And if that means taking some criticism to make myself a better person, then I'm willing to do that. I'm not perfect. I'm striving to become a better person. So we appreciate you guys. Thank you again for being supportive and chiming in. Please subscribe, like, whatever it is to support our podcast because we are planning to do a couple of more ventures in the coming year.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So you want to start off with one of our interactive segments for some of our subscribers and followers?
Which one do you prefer?
Well, first of all, since we're on this part, guys, what we want you guys to do, we want you guys to start sending in your letters of triumph.
Okay.
These are your stories of resilience where you've been through something
Mhm.
and you've overcome it. Today's show is from setback to comeback. So if you
Mhm.
had a setback and whatever got you to your comeback, send that story in to us and we'll be glad to share it live right here on the show to let people know that, people are out here that are having setbacks and having amazing comebacks through it all.
Yes.
So definitely we want you guys to be able to do that. Now, earlier today, Doc B shared one of her stories of a major setback in her life, losing her mother and
Mhm.
what she had to do to overcome that. So, we all have them type of stories to share. I've had my own, at this time right now, I don't want to share, a couple of my stories at this moment only
Mm.
for personal reasons. But trust me, I'll be glad to share them with you guys. Maybe for some of our subscribers that actually subscribe
Yes.
to our premium subscribers, we can have some one-on-one with you guys. And so some of you guys out there that subscribe to our premium channel, we do have our one-on-one lives with you guys where we actually interact directly with you guys. So some of our subscribers out there that subscribe to our premium channel will be glad to discuss things like that more. But right here on our general live, there's no need to get in detail with those. But right now,
I have one. I have one other interaction that I would like for you to do is to share any affirmations or quotes that you have that you listen to or that you say to yourself on a daily or regular basis that empower you. And we're going to use that to empower listeners and how they could face their own challenges. So share that affirmation or quote with us. Just post it in the comment section, and as a matter of fact, if you post it or share it, we may say it on the air, during one of our podcasts.
exactly.
Mhm.
And any of you mental health advocates out there, therapists, psychologists out there, if you want, please chime in and send in your comments about any strategies for resilience that some of our followers or subscribers can be able to read and help them out because a lot of times people take mental health like not serious, which is really crazy because that's one of the main things that's going on right now. You have young kids dealing with bullying. Right now the internet, social media, the attacks. It doesn't matter whether you're a child or an adult. They attack you for everything that's going on. We've had our own personal where some of the people that may watch our show and may say some seriously negative things about us, but you have to then take that as a grain of salt and just brush that off. Like, I'm not gonna let that, get to me like that. But see, me and Doc B may be strong enough to be able to brush that off. But there are a lot of people out there when somebody say something bad about them on social media, then they want to run away from it, then they shut down as a shell. Somebody that might say something personal about their life that other people don't know that they didn't want to share. So again, any of you health professional, health advocates,
Mhm.
therapists, all of you guys out there that may be watching the show, share a couple of comments that may be able to help some of our followers and our subscribers.
And also, those of you who were, unable to find a job, maybe, you couldn't get a job here because you were incarcerated, regardless of what, it may be. Say, for instance, you started your own business. I want you to list your business in the comment section as well, because guess what? We want to support you. It's all about Black businesses supporting other Black businesses because that's where we're falling short. Black people in this country have a lot of power. We're just not utilizing that power to support other Black companies. And that's what we want to do. We want to encourage you to support other Black businesses.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I
Mhm.
totally agree with you, Doc B.
Mhm.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah, because times may be hard in the next 4 years. Some of us may face a lot of discrimination.
And there are a lot of resources out there, community organization, self self-help tools, books out there on resilience that can be able to help you
Mhm.
guys, really try to check out those resources because, sometimes comebacks are harder than they seem.
Yes,
Sometimes that setback can keep you back a little longer than you anticipate. We don't know when we're coming out of that setback. We just know that we're going to have a comeback. And for some of you guys that are still set back right now, just know that there are resources out there. That's why we ask some of our professionals, to chime in, let some of our followers and subscribers know that there are things out there that can be able to help them
absolutely.
to deal with this setback so that they can have a very strong comeback.
Yes, yes,
Well, guys, we appreciate you guys joining us today J- with J&B Live. We thank you for taking the time out of your busy
yeah.
schedule to join us
Much love.
today. As always, we really appreciate you guys, making J&B possible. Thank you for following us. Thank you for listening to us. And again, guys, we thank you for viewing our videos. We thank you for viewing our podcasts, our playlists. We thank you for all of that. Thank you for liking our material and our content. We only ask, we want you guys to be more interactive. So please, comment. Please share stories. Please tell us how you feel in regards to the podcast or things that you may want us to talk about. Continue to do that. And we thank you
Yes. Thank
um,
you.
for
Thank you.
everything that you've done. I'm Broker J3,
Dr. B.
and thank you for joining us, JB Live. We appreciate you.